Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. I'm back with a finale of What If Deku had a healing quirk, and I'm glad to see that y'all enjoyed this series. And you guys have definitely been showing a ton of love on these series recently, and I appreciate that so freaking much, man. Because I really do enjoy making this content. When I sit down and I really get to it, and I just start recording, it just makes me realize how much I really enjoy this content. I really enjoy making this anime content. And the fact that y'all stick around and still watch it, because I know this is a dying niche. I'm not going to lie to you. It is at the end of the day, but I can and we can revive it if we just continue to pump out content, diversify our content, and that starts with me. So I definitely need to start diversifying content as well. But yeah, we're here. I'm just doing what I enjoy at this moment. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna waste that much more of your time. Lots of stuff in the making, lots of stuff in the works. So enjoy the finale, then we'll have the movie of this, and then we'll finish half and half, and we'll go from there. So I hope y'all continue to enjoy, and that's about it. Let's get right into it. Let's get it. The world just watched All Might, the #1 hero, throw aside his morals and kill All for One. It definitely puts some people in, almost everybody, in an odd mood. All Might, the #1 hero, the one that was sworn to be the best hero, the one that would be the greatest, that is the greatest, one that protects everybody, just ended a life. Some think this was necessary. Many do. Thinking that All for One was horrible, a person that needed to die. Someone that needed to go away forever, not in prison, because there was no way he would stay there forever. But many others bring up the idea that it's not their call. It's nobody's call between life or death. It's nobody's at all. So they believe All Might should be imprisoned. All Might is now a villain. Everything he did to sacrifice, everything he did to protect people, it's the moral of keeping that streak going. The fact that you don't ever kill somebody is what matters. In which many begin to argue about this, and while at UA, the conversations would continue and All Might would decide something. Izuku would be in the hospital hearing all of this, getting frustrated, trying to call anybody to speak with All Might, but nothing. Everything is just a cut off, cut dry, nothing is there. All Might would be, unfortunately, cuffed before Izuku could even talk to him, see him. He doesn't even know what's going on. Eventually, days after, All Might gets put in jail. But don't get me wrong, it's no jail that's going to be with all of these hardened criminals. He's in protective custody, of course. But he still would be, his freedom would be taken away, just like he took away the choice for rehabilitation. Would All for One ever rehabilitate? Of course not. We know that. But it is just not All Might's choice to take someone's life, and he decided to do just that. Izuku would eventually catch wind of what happened. Aizawa would explain to him exactly what occurred, and he knew that All Might did kill All for One, but he didn't know that he'd be in prison for it. All Might's done so much for everyone, so much. This rush of anger begins to overwhelm Izuku. Aizawa then says that the doctor has told him that even with his quirk, that his fingers, his ear, his eye will not regenerate. But Izuku wouldn't even listen to this. His anger would overflow, boil over, and the body parts that were said once not going to regenerate would regenerate. But the regeneration factor would do something far different. These fingers would turn this dark black, as if it's just pure, like, magma rock in a way. Pure, just basically blacktop. That's how dark the skin crawled back into his body. So it looks as if he's kind of diseased in a way. His eyeball is black. His fingers, or some of them, are black, and his ear is black as well. Luckily, nothing else is wrong with him. He's okay. But it's odd that it came out this color. It's odd that all of this happened in this succession. Rage itself must have boiled over and forced this to happen. The doctors say they want to check out what's going on with him, want to know what happened and how all that occurred, but Izuku doesn't even want to hear it. He wants to leave. He has something set on his mind, and he doesn't want to give that up ever. He even says he wants to speak with All Might as soon as possible, ASAP, in which Aizawa says they just can't do that right now. He'll get a meeting set up as soon as possible, but it's just not going to happen right now. Izuku's frustrated by this, and he's just annoyed. He says to Aizawa that All Might's a hero, someone that protected everybody. And he decided to make a decision. Yeah, maybe it was based off of emotions, but wouldn't you do the same? He points at Aizawa, saying that his student was beaten, battered, destroyed. Wouldn't you do the same? In which Aizawa just stands there in complete shock. Aizawa doesn't want to say a thing because the kid's right. Aizawa would have done the exact same thing. If he had the power to put his hand through All For One's chest, he would have done it. If he was able to kill All For One, he would have done it. Because Izuku is a student, someone that needs to be protected, someone that's supposed to be protected. Aizawa tells Izuku that he doesn't disagree with what All Might did. He doesn't. But society does. That's the problem. Izuku shakes his head and says that maybe there's no reason for him to become a hero then, if heroes get treated in such a way. Someone like All Might who's done everything for this society, and he messes up one time, or supposedly messes up one time, and then this happens? He gets put away in jail? Just like that? Izuku shakes his head and asks Aizawa if he could be left alone for a little bit, in which Aizawa says sure, but the doctors will be coming in to do tests on him to check out exactly what happened and how he regenerated, even beyond his quirk's limitations, in which they do just that. But there's no answer they're going to find. How would they ever find an answer? There's no way. Right? Correct. They would find no way that Izuku would be able to do this or how he was able to do this. But there's a conclusion that Izuku may come to. That's the fact that One For All not only is powering up his healing quirk, but this rage, this feeling that he had and the healing quirk must have combined with One For All. Perfectly put it in sync, and well, the healing factor that he saw, the blackened part of his fingers and his ear, are actually from a different quirk. At least that's an assumption. Maybe there's other people that have different quirks that Izuku doesn't know about. Something he should ask All Might, of course. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's a quirk, or part of a quirk that made it look like this, and everything is kind of merging together now. Izuku's trauma and Izuku's action that he's gone through has made something even more powerful. Something that may even limit his life, but at the same time has created a hero that's going to be even greater than All Might. A hero. Izuku shakes his head when he thinks about this, shakes his head when he talks about this. Hero. Whatever. Days later, Izuku would be able to see All Might once again. He would speak with him through a glass wall. This is horrible. A glass wall for the frickin' #1 hero. That's something, huh? The #1 hero, All Might, has done everything for this city, everything for this country. And this is what he gets. A glass wall. A speaker. And he sits here doing nothing. He may have better amenities than regular prisoners that would be at Tartarus, but he just sits here. No arguments from him. That's how good of a person he is. No struggle, no arguments, no nothing. They don't even have quirk cuffs on him, even with the last tiny bit of One For All he has. They don't even have quirk cuffs on him. There's no cancelization of his quirk. They know that All Might wouldn't do a thing to escape. That's not who he is. That's not who he's ever been. So one mistake really led to this. He begins to speak with All Might, asking about how this all happened, asking why are they keeping him here truly, and All Might says that a hero should never kill. He let his emotions get the best of him, but just as he's saying this, Izuku cuts him off, saying that a hero also doesn't deal with the trauma that he was dealing with. A hero doesn't watch not only his master, but almost his protege die right in front of him. How is he supposed to react? Every other hero would have reacted the same exact way if they had the power All Might had. Of course, this is true. Of course it is. But All Might knew the repercussions, and he's dealing with them now. Izuku shakes his head and then begins to ask another question. He doesn't want to stay on this topic much longer. He doesn't really care for it. He begins to ask All Might about one thing. About the other users of One For All. Their quirks. Of course, All Might has some but limited knowledge of this, and he begins to say as much as possible as he can, and Izuku writes down as much as he can. But he's directed back to Gran Torino. He's going to talk to Gran Torino and figure out anything else he possibly can from here on out. Izuku says that he'll visit All Might here and there as much as possible, but All Might tells him to go and live his life, to not worry about him. That he did this so that Izuku could live his life in peace and live his life without worry, or at least to a certain extent. But Izuku says that All Might has done far more than just that for him. He's given him a realization. He leaves, and All Might is there to ponder what Izuku means by that. As he arrives at Gran Torino's place to speak with him, Gran Torino would know exactly the feeling Izuku's getting, and he would tell Izuku not to do anything too rash, don't do anything too reckless, in which Izuku says that reckless and rash is not something that he'll even be considering throughout this time now. All he wants to know are the other quirks of One For All, the other users of One For All. What did they use? In which an explanation would occur. Everything he knows, and frankly, they would understand, or he would understand most, if not all, the quirks of One For All. Except for, of course, a few that, not many people even know in general. But still, he knows enough, at least enough now, to just go about what he needs to do. There's something that Gran Torino senses, though. He knows, and he can tell that Izuku plans to do something very, very, well, un-All Might-like. But what is he to say? There's nothing Gran Torino can say to make him change his mind, and Izuku won't change his mind. He would arrive back at UA, Izuku, and Izuku would write letters to his classmates, drop them off, and that was it. Those letters would state things that nobody would believe in a lifetime, would state things about One For All and what's going on. He decides that he's going to give the secret away because, frankly, it doesn't matter anymore. All Might's in prison, and his classmates deserve to know the truth. That's until, or before, he goes rogue. Izuku is, well, going to become a vigilante. Izuku decides this off of the pure idea that he knows there's still villains out there that he can handle on his own, that he can deal with. And he doesn't trust the hero society that would put the number one hero, All Might, someone that saved them countless of times, in prison. So he wears that suit, that costume, that same costume that would resemble All Might, at least in his own way. And on top of that, Izuku, right before he finally starts his journey as a vigilante, would be given something. Nobody's there, but this garment that is straight from Gran Torino would be laying on the ground outside. Izuku would pick it up and throw it on, as if Gran Torino's telling him that this is something, a path that Izuku's going to have to follow alone, but he'll still carry a piece of Gran Torino with him along this journey, and there will be respect no matter what. Izuku would follow down the path of a vigilante. He would hunt down the rest of the League of Villains very easily, in fact. He would find them as quick as possible, in which they were trying to more or less speed up the process of getting Shigaraki as strong as possible. But that did not work too well. Not well at all. With One For All completely synced up within Izuku's body, his output of strength is insane. On top of the healing quirk, there is no stopping him. Even top pro heroes refuse to even hunt him down because not only is he extremely powerful, but they believe that he's doing justice. At the end of the day, He's not killing villains. He still isn't. All Might might have done it once, but Izuku decides, basically out of respect for All Might, that he won't even do it. He's just knocking him out. And they would just arrive at a police station, cuffed up, wrapped up, whatever you could think of. He's not doing anything wrong. He's so beyond so many of these pro heroes that many believe this to be beneficial. Many believe it to be a positive. And that's definitely the case. It's definitely a positive. After finding and capturing the League of Villains, let's just say it all falls in place. Many of the police force begin to want to look for Izuku. Many of the police force begin to set more or less bounties for Izuku. Basically, they want Izuku brought in as soon as possible, ASAP. They want him brought in prison, because at the end of the day, this is vigilante work. This is not something that should be happening as a hero. A hero wouldn't do this. But even if the other heroes, the top heroes, wanted to bring him in, why would they? There's an obvious excuse of he's too strong for them to really take on. And on top of that, he's done so much already, put so many people behind bars. The League of Villains that were escaped and basically rampant everywhere, or basically around their normal areas, are gone too. All for One is dead because of All Might. There is no, anything bad going on in terms of, the League of Villains. The only issue at this moment, the only issue they have to deal with is Overhaul from the Shiha Zaikai. And these heroes, the top heroes, would begin to think that maybe getting Izuku to help them is truly the way to defeat him. In which a bit of a tip would go off. A tip from actually one of the top heroes by the name of Sir Night-Eye, followed by a young man by the name of Mirio Togata, would speak with Izuku while Izuku's sitting on a rooftop. They hunted him down and finally found him, but he told them that a fight between them would not be the most beneficial for them, in which Night-Eye agrees. Night-Eye says that he's foreseen so much. Izuku would absolutely defeat them. But that's not why he's here. They're here because they need help. Izuku looks at them funny, and they bring up the fact that Overhaul has a little girl captured under wraps. At least that's what they've seen. At least that's what they've heard. These rumors. Maybe they're utilizing her for another reason. Maybe it's Overhaul's daughter. They're not sure. But at the same time, they're not willing to take any risks. So Night-Eye says that he's going to give some coordinates. These coordinates will be the general location of where Overhaul has been around. Izuku gets the coordinates, and it's simple. Track him down as quick as possible. That's all he wants to do. And he'll know. He'll know if it's a sabotage. He'll know if the heroes try to do something to capture him. He's been getting this weird sense of the surrounding, sense of everything ever since he's felt this connection with One for All. And he just knows. After a while would pass, eventually he would see a little child scamper out of an alleyway. And that, right there, would be his cue. He would dive in, standing right in front of the man that was chasing her. The man would stop in his tracks and look closely at the boy. Stare at Izuku. Izuku staring back at Overhaul, but Overhaul seems to break eye contact. Izuku's eyes itself seem to be terrifying, as if a monster has just stepped in front of him. Overhaul immediately, not even thinking, no talk, just action, immediately uses his quirk, trying to send spikes, trying to send anything, distort the area around him to kill this person, this vigilante. Kill him now. He's freaking out. But Izuku just walks forward, as if nothing around matters. Nothing. Izuku would shatter everything, and the ego of Overhaul would shoot to the ground. You can feel everything around. Overhaul can hear every last little car drive by, feel the sweat dropping from his head. Overhaul would be terrified. Izuku would make him fear him badly. Izuku would step forward as Overhaul wouldn't even stand a chance. Activating One for All at such a high level to the point that Overhaul can't even react. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punches down. Overhaul's knocked out entirely, tied up in this black substance, which Izuku deems as Black Whip, at least something he's heard about. Maybe that's where his fingers and his ear and his whatever, his eyeball, more or less regenerated from, forming from some sort of black material. At least, maybe. Izuku would cuff him, bring him to a nearby police station, and click a button to signal that Overhaul has been captured to Sir Night-Eye. He would drop off the little girl and even look to see that there's wounds on her. He would wave his hand and he would heal her almost instantaneously as it drains some of his stamina. She would actually crack a little bit of a smile as she looks at Izuku, even though he looks terrifying, scary. It's as if she herself can tell that Izuku's a good person. But before he could even say another word, Izuku would string up on a building and be gone. Just like that. No trace of him. For a while, Izuku would go away. Be gone. Frankly, there's no reason for him to be around. There's rumors that he's off destroying syndicate after syndicate. Even a syndicate of this villain group that many didn't even know existed anymore. Izuku was a true vigilante now. He followed the line that the heroes didn't want to follow. He realized something. The way he is now would benefit everyone so much more than what he would be before. So he continues to follow that path. Every so often he would visit All Might, and many would know he is. But nobody would stop him. Nobody. Not a single soul would stop Izuku Midoriya. He would visit his mother, and there would be police outside waiting. But nobody would even dare try to cuff him. It's as if they knew. They knew Izuku meant so much to this society that he might be a vigilante in all technicality, in all word of definition. But to them, to everyone around, if not most, if not all, he was a hero. He cut down he cut down villain society and tamed hero society when it needed it most. When they saw the number one hero crack under the pressure and kill somebody, end the life of the most ruthless villain ever, and many thought that that was horrible, Izuku took it upon himself to pave the way to a safer future. What does that future look like from here on out? And what does that mean for Izuku? Well, that's a story for another day and another time. And if you enjoyed this series, and if you enjoyed What If Deku Had a Healing Quirk, make sure to show some love by leaving a like, a sub, and a comment down below. All that good stuff. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.